Hey guys, Lee with LG Speed and Custom here, and in this video we are going to do some assembly on my 1932 Ford two-door sedan. So in the last video we sprayed the body in some DTM direct to metal black epoxy primer. In this video, we're gonna start assembling stuff. I've got stuff scattered all over the entire shop that, we had mocked up and then took off, and now it's, we can put it back on for good this time. Stuff like, we've got the fan belt. We gotta fix the fan. I don't know if you guys remember when we were fitting this fan that I didn't have the right hardware, so it's just got some spacers, bolts in there. We're gonna take care of that. Door handles can go back on. We've got some headers that can go on. The steering box, this car originally had a chrome F1 steering box, so we're gonna put that back in. Windshield frame we can't put in yet because we need a windshield seal for that, which we might get tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to Al Clark's place. For those of you that don't know who Al Clark is, he is the founder of Deuce Days, one of the biggest car shows celebrating the 1932 Ford that happens right here in Victoria every 3 years. Anyways, he's having a big garage sale tomorrow, so we're gonna go there and see what we can find, because we need a windshield seal, and what else do we need? I don't know what else we need off the top of my head, but if I see something there that I know I need, I'm gonna grab it. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's start putting this thing together. So let's start with the steering box. Here's the steering box that came out of the car. As you can see, I haven't cleaned it or done anything to it. It's got, it's pretty gross, but I think some brake clean will fix all that up. It's actually chrome, which is kind of cool. And the other thing that's kind of cool is the steering column tube is actually copper. So I don't know how I feel about a copper steering column tube. Well, does copper match this thing? I don't know. I guess what we can do is clean it up and see how it looks. And if it looks cool, we'll keep it. And if it looks dumb, then we'll come up with a plan B. Just gonna wash this in the parts washer and then probably clean the steering column up and put it right back in as is. As janky as a lot of things were on this car, the one thing that did work nice is it steered really nice. So, I don't think we need to open a new can of worms and tear this thing apart. We'll just put it in, and then, if it does suck, then, we'll make another video where we take it out and rebuild it. You don't have to do everything at once. You can do it in pieces. So this thing is cleaning up really nice. Grease and oil is it's great at preserving things. This thing cleaned up a very nice. Chrome steering boxes are so cool. But I'm pretty sure when it's all together, you'll probably never see it. But that's not the point. All right, we got a little flange from the outside, so I think we'll paint that black. And then while that's drying, we'll strip the steering column down. To clean this up, I'm just gonna start with some 320 grit, and yeah, I don't know, just kind of go like this and see what happens. I don't know if I want to polish it or leave it, brushed. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of a copper steering column tube. Are you into it, or do you think it's dumb? I think I might be into it. check it out. It's the Wolverine. I think I like the copper, other than my hands smell like pennies now, which is kind of gross. It's got some nicks and chunks missing out of it, so I don't think I'll polish it, but I think I'll leave it like this. Everybody say good morning to Ken. We're heading over to Al Clark's place now for his garage sale.
The destination is on your left. 14.
Yeah, I think Lux would fit in this.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the club. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. We got 32 parts. We're back from Al Clark's sale. We've got a driver's side rear fender that's in really nice shape. A little bit of rust damage where the running board goes on, but I'm not worried about that. We can fix that when the time comes. I've got another sedan fender, a pair actually, that I think I talked about in the last video that I got from my friend Bruce. So I don't know if this one's better than his or not. We'll compare them and obviously use the better one. Driver's front fender. This one is really nice shape. It's had a little bit of metal work in there, not too bad. The fender is being widened right here. There's like a little factory flaw with 32 Ford fenders that when you bolt them on, there's a little gap right here. So Al is already taking care of that. Otherwise, you know, this fender is ready to go on. So we got that. Just for a future build, got another 32 Ford pedal assembly that's being modified for hydraulic brakes. So that's cool. Got a kingpin set just to have with dropping axles. I go through a lot of kingpins. You can only drop, I think, about 2 or 3 axles, and then the kingpin starts to get a little bow in it. So I grab those whenever I can. And I got this funky old shift knob that isn't as vintage as it looks. I think it's from, what's it say on here? Come on, camera, focus on here. Anyway, I'll read it to you. It says, Ford and Flowers, 1996, Victoria, BC, which I don't know if I'll keep that all. I might just pop this center out and put something cool in, but it's a cool looking shift knob. So Ken got another set of kingpins, and he got a mirror for his Model A pickup. Anyways, back to assembling this thing. We got the steering column all cleaned up, ready to go in. A little flange that goes on the outside of the frame rail is painted and dry, so let's put it in. So Shannon and I just put the steering column back in exactly the way that it came out, except for we're rubbing on the clutch pedal now, which is weird because it didn't rub on the clutch pedal before, and the pedals and the steering box are still in the exact same spot. So I don't know what the deal is with that. So I'm thinking we might put a spacer in there to move the steering box back a little bit. We've got lots of room on these splines before, you know, that's an issue of running out of splines. Before we do that, I'm gonna mock up one of the headers just to see how close we can get. I bought these headers a few months ago Holley Performance was having this huge blowout sale of old inventory, and they were selling chrome flathead headers for $61 a pair. Regular is like $460 a pair. So I grabbed a set for this. I was a little reluctant to buy headers for this originally because I don't know any history on this engine, and this engine might be a turd, and I didn't want to spend money on an engine that may or may not work. But I figured for 61 bucks, it's worth a gamble. They did fit before I put the steering box in, but it doesn't look very good right now for them fitting again. They don't. They're so close though. Actually, I wonder if that would clear or not. I'm gonna try taking off the jam nut on the steering box adjuster. It's a big jam nut. Doesn't need to be that big, and it might just be enough room to get some clearance. So with the jam nut out of the way, the header still doesn't fit. It's very close. It's just touching right here. So I think we'll space the steering box back 1/4 of an inch. And that should give us enough room. And then, I mean, if the header already doesn't fit, it doesn't matter. We'll just put the steering box where it fits and then modify the header to fit. So I should be able to use this spacer or this flange as a spacer template. And I think I'll make a 1/4 inch one to go on the inside here. But I'll also make another 1/4 inch one to go on the outside. This one I think is 1/8 inch, and it distorted a little bit when we ran it on with the impact gun. So I'll put a little bit of a thicker one on. So do we take a gamble and paint these black and then put it back together and just know it's gonna work? Or do we mock it up first and then take it apart again and then paint them black? I'm feeling risky today. I'm gonna paint them black first. While we're waiting for those flanges, spacers, whatever you want to call them, to dry, let's move on to the fan. So remember a few videos back, we mocked all this up. This is a 35 to 38 Ford fan, which a lot of people recommend using to fit an 8BA in a 32 using a generator mounted fan. I have since changed my mind on this, decided to swap it out for a 33-34 Ford fan. Reason being, it is about an inch shallower, and I think this one fit, but it was really, really, really close, and I think that one will just fit a little bit better. So I got that from Terry Stenberg, who we also got this one from. Got it from him quite a while ago. And just never put it on yet. So you'll also remember when we mocked this up, I didn't have the right hardware because this pulley has 1/4 inch fine thread and I didn't have any. So I've since got the correct 1/4 inch hardware. So we'll put this on. I've sandblasted it and painted it the other day. Actually, I think yesterday I painted it. Yeah, this one, I mean, we'll find out when the radiator goes back on, but I think this one will just give us a little more space. It was still pretty tight with that other setup. I have also got a fan belt that we can put on. Fan belt number 2, because Aaron's 33 Ford, behind you there, that you probably haven't seen, I just put a fan belt on his the other day, and it's essentially the same setup as this. So I got 2 belts and found out that it does not fit this belt, or this, the belt that I put on his won't fit on this, even though they're both 8BA engines. And I think it's because this has the special pulley that you can put the fan on, and Aaron's truck does not have that pulley, and the other pulley is a lot smaller. So I think that's why it does not fit. I'll snug these up and then we'll try the belt that I got yesterday and see if it fits. So this is a B53 belt, which means it's 53 inches long. The one that I tried the other day that fits on Aaron's truck is a B51, which is 51 inches long. This one, oh, I don't know if it's gonna go either. I think we might need a B54. It's so close. I was gonna get a B52 and a B53, but they did not have a B52 in stock. But I think we need a B54, so we'll have to go back to, they're closed today. The place that I got this from, Western Performance, or no, Western Power Equipment. They sell like chainsaws and stuff like that, but they have the wide belts that we need. So I'll have to go back there on Monday and get a B54. I think I got it to work. I loosened the generator right off so that it tilted down a bit, and it was just enough to slide that in over the groove, and then obviously once it goes over the groove and in, it you know, we can snug it up a bit. It gains a little bit of slack. Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna work. Cool. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. Fans on, pulley belt. The belt is on. Just ate some tacos, and our flanges are dry. So let's put this back together. You gotta really hold your tongue right to get this in there. Slide our spacer in there. I got some longer bolts. These ones are a 1/2 inch longer, because we added a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. So, Shannon, do you want to give me a hand and hold the other end of this steering column again? There we go, we got space now. I really like the contrast of this chrome and copper with everything going on. I think it pops. It's got some pop to it. Here's our 1/4 inch spacer on the outside, and naturally the 1/4 inch spacer on the inside. I used Nylox on the backside, which I know aren't period correct, but I've had steering boxes come loose before and that's not fun. All right, next step. I don't know what the next step is. Shane was just helping me and we gathered all the random parts for this car that have been skewed all over the shop for the last few months. So I think I'm just going to start going through this, and anything easy like door handles and stuff, we'll just put them back on the car, because then that's done and we'll condense this. Maybe we can get from 3 crates down to 2 crates. Got my tail lights that I had forgotten about. I bought these a long time ago for this car. I don't know how I'm gonna orientate them on the back of the car yet. That might be a future project. Maybe, I don't know, a Nerf bar or something, have them in the Nerf bar. Straight up and down in the fenders, maybe canted in the fenders. I've seen them in the back of the body before, but I think on a full fender car that might be a little bit weird. I don't know, maybe we won't even use them. They might just not work at all and look weird, so. Steering wheel. This car had, I think, like a Model T steering wheel. But I don't think I'm gonna put that back on. I think we are going to put on this 39 Deluxe wheel. This wheel was originally on my Roadster before I put the Monarch wheel on. Actually, before I had the 39 wheel on the Roadster, I had the 40 Deluxe wheel, and before I had the 40 Deluxe wheel, I had the 40 Standard wheel. So all 3 of these wheels have been on this car at one point. Got the 39 wheel on there. Shannon and Lux have been putting the door handles on. This one we got a problem though. We're gonna take the door handle back off because the bottom hole has an old screw stuck in it that's broken off way in there. So we got a 5/32 drill bit and we're gonna drill it out. Okay, you should be able to tap that now. Gonna put the dash tunnel in next, but I'd like to get these gauges out first. So I'm not opposed to reusing these gauges, but we gotta fix that first. So the amp gauge came off normal, it's just unbolted. This one, I took a screwdriver and just kind of pried this back and off it came. So that was easy. It's a little dent right there. We'll just take this and tap it out. Pretty much. It's still there a little bit. Well, it's better than it was. We'll hit this with some steel wool and see how it cleans up. Well, that cleaned up okay. It's definitely not great, but for now it'll be fine. I don't really have a plan with the dash. I got a little ahead of as far as I have planned on this car, so I don't know what, we'll just put it back together like this, and you know, in the future if I come up with something cooler, then we'll do that. Okay, put one through. You holding it? Yep. Okay. Dash tunnel's in, and your shift knob's on. On the other side here, we just used some panhead stainless Phillips head screws, just because they look nice. Grill shell next. Grill is on, radiator's on. Grill and radiator are gonna come back off. Now you can tell that today is coming up on the end of day 6 in the shop, is my brain doesn't work anymore, and I forgot to put the lower rad hoses on, which have to go on as the radiator goes in. So I think I'm gonna take a break for a day, relax, sleep, drink some more coffee, and then we'll come back at this and kind of not screw things up anymore. So we'll see you in a day or two. Okay, well, it's been a few days, and I've had some time to rest and come up with a plan. I was kind of just frantically putting stuff together. Once the body went back on and was bolted down, I'm like, all right, let's put the car back together. Let's get it on the road. And I realized I didn't have a plan, because my plan, when we first got the car a year ago, my plan was we got to fix this chassis. So we blew it all apart, fixed the chassis, got the chassis painted, put back together. Then my next plan was we got to put the body back on, but it's not going back on in that orange spray paint. I just got to get the orange off. We got to get it in some sort of epoxy, fix the cowl vent, put it back on. We got to that point, and I had never thought any further than that. It's like when you're like working up the courage to ask a girl out, and then you ask her out, and she says yes, and you're like, oh man, I didn't plan past this point. I don't know what to do now. So I've thought about it for a few days and kind of calmed down a bit. The excitement of the body being back on and it looking like a car and ready to go again is died down a bit. So we're just gonna focus on some of the basic things, like it rolls, good, motor's in, awesome, stops. Does it steer? No, does not steer. So we're gonna focus on making it steer. From there, let's focus on making it start, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if we'll get that far away yet. Because to make it start, we gotta start wiring things and putting the dash in. And the dash is not painted, it's just sandblasted, hanging up on the wall over there. And as far as like gauges and stuff go, I don't have any gauges for it yet. I've got some gauges on the shelf over there, but I haven't gone through them and come up with a set yet. Not even quite sure what I want to do for gauges. Part of me is just Let's just put it back together with the gauges that it had. Well, I shouldn't say the gauges that it had because it had no gauges. It had a speedometer that wasn't hooked up and an amp gauge that wasn't hooked up. But maybe we could put like a simple 3-gauge setup together for it. Part of me was also thinking, you know, this car would look really cool with like a 58 Edsel gauge cluster in it, like the ones with the little pods and stuff. It'd really kind of go for that late 50s, early 60s style that I like, that I'm aiming for with this car. But I don't have an Edsel gauge cluster. I don't even know where to get one other than going on like eBay or Instagram, where it's going to be insane, stupid money because parts on the internet are so expensive. So yeah, let's not worry about that right now. Let's make our steering work. We got to build a drag link. The Pitman arm, the original Pitman arm should work, but the drag link that was on this car is not going to work. So we got to build that. Let's do that. Oh, before we do the Pitman arm though, and the drag link, I got to show you something. So remember the other day we went over to Al Clark's place. He was having his garage sale, and we got the fenders. Well, I went and got the other fenders, so we've got both front fenders from Al now. I had a nice front fender from my friend Bruce, but had the spare tire cut out in it. And Al had a decent fender there that has the metal work like 90% done. So I was like, do I just fix the fender that Bruce gave me, or do I buy this? And I decided to just buy the fender. So when I went back over there, Al and I made a deal on this. Let me show you what this is. This is Al's frame jig. Set up like, oh, I got it all tight right now so it doesn't rotate, but it's set up like rotisserie style so you can roll it all the way around. One side is set up for 33, 34, and 35 to 40 frames. The other side, over here, this side is set up for 32 frames. It's got spots where you bolt the rear end housing in. Spreader bars go in here. Up front here, spreader bars. This is like where the fender bolt holes are. Brake pedal pivot point. Front axle pivot point. Front axle actually bolts in here. Super cool jig. Al Clark has built 61 frames on this jig. Along with the jig, he also has all these fixtures to build a Model A chassis in here. You bolt these guys, bolt them in, I forget where, I think like right there. And that's for the running board brackets on a Model A frame. Along with that, we've got all his templates down here for boxing plates. 35 to 40 boxing plates, 32 boxing plates. This is a template for when you build like Model A chassis out of 2x4 tubing like we did on a Third Wave Roadster. You can lay this on top of the tubing and it shows you where to drill all your holes for the body mount. So yeah, we got that the other day. Huge thanks to Al on that. And my friend Robin Hood, he kind of helped orchestrate this. Al called me again yesterday and said, hey, I've got some 32 Ford two-door windows. Do you want them? Otherwise, they're going to the dump. So I ran over there yesterday, and Jim and I grabbed these. Unfortunately, they're tinted, they're smoked, and I'm not a fan of tinted windows in old cars. I think they look kind of funny. So I'm probably not going to use those, but you know, maybe we'll find a home for them somewhere. So anyways, let's make this thing steer. So I just mocked this up. Hey man, shush, quiet on set. For starters, my steering box is centered, meaning I've got the same amount of turns to go to the left as it takes to get to the right. And when it's centered, my steering wheel is centered. These are not spline shafts, they have a keyway, so the wheel only goes on one way. You can't turn it off and clock it. So with the way it's set up like that, my original drag link fits perfect. I got it sitting on top there where it's supposed to drop in, and my drag link and pitman arm fit. This pitman arm has 4 like master splines in there, so it'll only go on one of 4 ways. And the way it is right now, everything just clicks right together. Perfect. Steering wheel's straight, drag link's the right length, front wheels are straight. My issue is it is pointing back. And in the real world, or in like the theoretical world, you want this like straight up and down. So what my issue is if I make that straight up and down, so it comes forward, I'm gonna have to build a new drag link, which we kind of thought we were gonna have to do originally before I mocked it up. That's fine, but by clocking that forward a little bit, my steering wheel is not gonna be straight anymore, and that really, really bothers me. On my Roadster, when I built the drag link for that, I made it adjustable. And the reason I made it adjustable was so that my steering wheel could be centered. As I got my steering wheel centered, I had the same issue. As you can see, my drag link, or my pitman arm, is leaning forward. This one points up instead of pointing down. This is a 39 Ford steering box turned sideways. So it's leaning forward. That's the only way that my wheel will be straight. Now this car, turning right, no problem. But when I turn left, especially in like a parking lot where I gotta make a tight left turn, I run out of movement. My pitman arm maxes out and it won't turn left anymore. And it doesn't turn left as sharp as I would like it to sometimes. So in the real world, 90% of the time it's fine. The only time it's ever an issue is in parking lots. But because I'm aware of it, I just make sure I don't get into those situations. So I think before we do anything on this, I'm going to actually drop this down into the hole so that it's in there, maybe put a nut on it, maybe put a nut on there, and then we'll jack the front end up and see if we can get full steering movement, full turning, full turnage, turn, I don't know, make sure the wheels go all the way. There's a bit of paint and primer in here that's not allowing that tapered end to go in, so I'm just gonna clean this up with this tapered reamer, and that should solve that problem. I've got it mocked up on here. Nothing is actually tight, it's just sitting in place. I jacked the front end up so the wheels are just off the ground. Let's go all the way to the right. Our wheel on the other side has just hit the steering stop, meaning it can't go any further. The back of the spindle is touching this is the steering stop here, and that's what it's designed for, is to stop the steering. So with the steering stop connected back there, we still have about an 1/8 of an inch clearance in here. We're not hitting the frame, so that's good. That works. If we go all the way to the left now, we've just hit the steering stop on this side. We are touching in there. Now notice it's super close to that tire. And notice that this drag link has a bow in it. I don't think that bow is natural. I think that happened from the tire hitting it. But the tire doesn't actually make contact. It still spins. It's very, 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 very close though. I think we'll be okay though, because like I said, we are hitting the steering stop down here. And this pitman arm is not on all the way. I just kind of slid it on a little bit. So when that nut gets tightened up and that sucks in, you know, we'll gain a little bit more clearance in there. So I think our drag link is actually okay. I know ideally it'd be nice if that was a little more straight up and down, but I think for the real world, I think it's gonna work okay. It'll be just fine. We're gonna paint it black and move on, as my friend Richard said. And you know what, if we get this car on the road and start driving it around and find out that this is an issue, if it doesn't work in the real world, we can always come back and change it. For now, I'd like to try it though. I just cleaned all the grease off this and then gave it a quick little sand. So let's paint it black. We'll have some lunch, come back, and put it on. Got everything all buttoned up and this put back together. I put new cotter pins through here. I also adjusted these early ends. They have like a little ball and socket with a spring deal in them. And you can always take a big flat blade screwdriver in the end there and thread them in to tighten up any slack or wear tolerances. So new cotter pins, grease nipples are back in. I greased everything on the whole front end. Pitman arm is sucked all the way on with the impact. And check this out, now that it's all the way on, when we go to the left, we're not hitting anymore. I mean, we weren't hitting before, but it was really close. And now it's good. Going this way, we hit the steering stop just as, like if you force it, it will, well, not quite. I can still see daylight through there. It's really close to the frame that way, but I think it'll be fine. So there's our steering box, back's centered again. Steering wheel is centered, wheels are straight, and I think we can live with that. We'll try it at least. So the steering is pretty much done other than this end. We still got to build a column drop. We got to fit the dash for that. I don't know if I want to start that project right this exact moment because I kind of want to get these fuel lines sorted out first. So let's do that next, right after we open. We got some fan mail from the Creepers Car Club. Creepers Car Club from Bunker Hill, Illinois sent us a package. Let's open this up and see what we got. Oh, that was easy to open. It just tore right open. Let's see. Oh man, there's a bunch of stuff in here. A note. Oh man, we're throwing stuff out. We dig your work. Here is some merch. Check out Menace Monster Art. Awesome artist who designed our monster Creepazoid. Creepers Car Club, Illinois. Cool, what do we got here? We got some coasters. Creepers Car Club, spooky. And wow, a whole bunch of stickers here. Pretty cool stuff. The Creepazoid. Oh, that's the Menace Monster Art. I support creepers. Creep Show. There used to be a good band from Ontario, the Creep Show. I don't know if they're still around anymore. Cool. Some more, man, there's a lot of stickers here. Some matches. That's cool. Nobody ever does matches anymore. When I was a kid, one of my dad's friends, he collected matchbooks from all over the place. Support your local tiki bar. Established 2013. And a couple can cozies. These will keep my bubblies nice and cool. There's a car show coming up on Sunday. Actually, I'm going to take this. John Buck's show at the Canamera Cruise Inn. So I'll take these along because it's supposed to be really hot that day. So cool. Thank you very much, Creepers Car Club. I really appreciate the merch, the fun stuff. So thanks so much. Back to work now. So our fuel hose from the tank to the line, I'm just hooking that up right now. I it's a little weird. I don't know how the correct routing for this is supposed to be, because this is not a stock tank, it's an aftermarket tank, and I don't know if the outlets are in the right spot or not. But this is like the only way I could see how it went. It like runs along the top of the tank, goes around the frame rail, and then back in, which I know is not the correct routing. It's gonna work, it'll work fine, but I don't know how else you could run it with this tank, because there is literally no way for the line to get between the tank and the body without going that way to the outside of the frame rail. So for those of you watching that know more about 32 Fords than I do, which I know there's a lot of, let me know what the like correct routing is. I mean, like I said, I know this will work, it'll be fine, and because it's gonna be a full fendered car, like nobody will ever, like it's not gonna stick out or be weird or anything. But I'd still like to know what the correct routing is supposed to be. Anyways, let's figure this vent out now. I'm gonna bolt the fender on that side and see if we can run this vent tube somewhere up in the fender or somewhere. I want it to be higher than the tank so that on a hot day it doesn't start puking out the vent tube when the gas expands. Her fender's all bolted up now, and this vent tube I've got run up to here and held on with a little Adele clamp there. I was gonna put a clamp there, but that was my last clamp, so I gotta get more clamps next time I go to the parts store. I don't know, like this will probably be fine, but I'm a little bit concerned that water splashing around in here might go back down, so I might take some hard line or something. I don't know, this might be overthinking it, but I might run some hard line kind of maybe down over to here so that water doesn't splash through there. I don't know, let me know. You think it'll be fine, or do you think I should extend it down? Let's, you know what? Before we put the wheel on and put it back down, let's maybe throw the fender on the other side. Passenger fender's on. This is one of the fenders that I got from my friend Bruce. So it's, you know, it's far from perfect, but it is considerably better than the fender that I had, the fender that came with this car. Still needs a little bit of metal work. It's been sandblasted once and looks like it kind of maybe sat outside where it was getting dripped on or something. I'm not concerned about that right now because I'm gonna do a little bit of metal work on the front fender, so when that happens, we'll probably pull this fender off, re-sandblast it, and then spray it in the same epoxy as the body. But for now, this is fine because I still gotta, like, we gotta figure out tail lights and stuff like that. So no sense priming them right now because it's just all gonna come off again. Let's put this thing back on the ground. Cool, man. How's it look from over there? Looks deadly from over here. Oh yeah. Super cool. All right, what do you guys want to do next? I think I'm gonna throw these front fender braces on. I've actually had these for a while. I just haven't got around to putting them on. These actually also came from Bruce. Bruce has been really helpful with this project. This has part of a fender and a broken bolt still attached to it. So we'll start by zinging that off and then we'll bolt these up. I don't think we're gonna hang the front fenders right now, but at least we'll get these on and ready. We might have to do, I think there's supposed to be some cage nuts in there. Well, maybe not. No, actually, you know what? I think the bolt passes all the way through. That's where the headlight bar attaches. So we'll zing this off and then bolt them on. So these guys just bolt to the front of the frame horns here. There's the factory hole still in the frame horns. I think they're supposed to be 3/8 bolts. I'm putting them together with 5/16 bolts because I'm assuming that if I put these together with 3/8 and there's no wiggle room, it's probably not going to fit. But if we put it together with 5/16 bolts, then we've got a little bit of wiggle room for some adjustments. Or at least that's my plan or thinking strategy. You know what I'm trying to say. While I'm putting these on, something that I want to talk about. Something that always bugs me. Henry Ford steel. The whole time I've been building this. And, basically most of the time that I've been into early Fords, everybody always refers to Henry steel, Henry original, Henry this, Henry that. And, I just kind of want to give some credit where credit is due. The 32 Ford, the Model A Roadster, all the really cool Fords that hot rodders love, the 33s, 34s, the Lincoln Zephyr, Mercury division, like the 39 Mercury, one of the best looking cars ever made. Henry Ford had nothing to do with any of those. Henry Ford didn't design this car. Henry Ford didn't design that car. Edsel Ford did. These are all Edsel Ford designs. If it was up to Henry Ford, we'd still be driving Model Ts today. Henry Ford was he didn't like change. He liked preserving the past, kind of like us traditional hot rodders do. But at the time when these cars came out, when they were all coming out onto the market, Henry Ford was doing just that. He was preserving the past. He was building his Greenfield Village, his little utopian museum. That was his number one interest at the time. It opened in 1933, and I think he started building it in 1929. So he was busy doing that, and it was Edsel Ford, his son, that brought us the Model A. Brought us things like electric starters, color. You want a red car? You want a blue car? You can thank Edsel Ford for that. The 32 Ford, one of the most beautiful cars ever built, designed by Edsel Ford. And Edsel Ford was a hot rodder too. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Edsel Speedster. There's actually two of them. He had two of them built. Go check out the Edsel Speedster. It's an incredible car. Had a flat head in it, hopped up, a couple carburetors on it. So, yeah, I think we need to give credit where credit's due. This isn't Henry Steel. This is Edsel Steel. This is an Edsel design. He's a pretty cool guy, and I think he deserves credit. Anyways, let's tighten these up. I might also be a little biased on that, because I really like Edsel, like the car, like 58 Edsels. I think they're really cool cars. I've had a few Edsels, even though Edsel Ford had absolutely nothing to do with those cars. He was long gone by then. I just realized as I was putting my socket away from tightening that, I should probably bolt the headlight bar on, like loosen these back off and then bolt the headlight bar on to get our proper spacing, or to get us in the ballpark. This spans across from here to the other side, and the way they are right now, there we're on this side, we're nowhere near this side. So let's loosen them off, we'll put our headlight bolts in, and then tighten them back up. Got a little ahead of myself. These are loosened off again. These are the headlight bolts. They're like a specialty bolt, a little bit of an angle on them. They're a carriage bolt with a funny angle on them. I don't know if a regular carriage bolt would work. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Okay. So let's put this end through here. Get our nut on. Take another one and go to the other side. And that should kind of get them. Oh, my washer ran away. We'll just steal this washer. This should get us a bit closer in the ballpark. Obviously, there's the thickness of the fender and the little headlight pads go in there. But it'll get us close. Is that going the right way? Did I put this on backwards? I think I put it on backwards. Stand by. Okay, it was the right way after all. I don't know, I've never built a full fendered car before. So if it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I don't. I haven't got a clue. I've always taken fenders off, but I've never built a sedan before, so. And I think sedans need to have fenders. They look best full fendered. Roadster is definitely fenderless. Coupes, I could go either way. Sedans, fenders. All right, we're gonna snug this up again. A little bit on that side, a little bit on this side. Is that still square? I think so. Cool. New day in the shop. Yesterday we mounted these fender braces in the headlight bar, and I was thinking the next step would be maybe figure some shock mounts out, because we never finished the shock mounts because they didn't have braces at the time. But we've run into a snag. The old trusty 47, the most reliable car in the whole fleet, let me down last night. We went to the beach after we finished mounting those fender braces. And coming home, it died. Didn't even make it home. Lost all its spark. So I'm assuming it's something simple. I've dug out my old ignition parts because it's Saturday morning and the chances of finding this stuff local, probably not gonna happen. So I'm gonna dig into this because we gotta get this car running again. And then once that's done, then we'll get back to this. Well, naturally, the car fired right up this morning, so I'm thinking that something's probably getting hot, like a coil or a condenser. So I'm gonna head down and get a new coil for it and order a new condenser, and we'll go from there. I just want to change one piece at a time. That way I can figure out exactly what the problem was rather than change everything all at once and then you don't know what actually fixed it. Good news, bad news, good news. Good news, the 47 is fixed. It was the condenser. It's always the condenser, always the condenser. So points in it as well. New coil, new condenser, new points. It's running great, super happy. Look at it over there. Hi. Bad news, I didn't get that finished until like noon today, and then we had a thing that we had to be at 2 o'clock. So we got nothing done on the 32 at all. Good news, today is the Canamera Cruise In, and we're gonna take the 32. Obviously, we're not gonna drive it. I'm gonna drive the Roadster, and Shannon and Lux are gonna take Brown Sugar with the 32 on it. So it is, I think it's 7 a.m. right now. We're gonna load some cars and then head on down to the show. I did manage to get the 32 loaded yesterday with all our stuff for the show. All our merch, which if you want merch, make sure to head to lgspeedcustom.com and get yourself some merch. Love the support. Thanks everybody that goes to the website and picks something up at the end of every video. Really, 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 really appreciate it. A lot. Thanks. Anyways, let's load some cars. Well, we just got back from the show, and as you can see, the Roadster is on the trailer right now. While we were driving there this morning, I could smell gas really strong. And then we got out on the country roads where we were going a little bit faster, and I started to get gas all over the windshield. And the front carburetor has just started out of the accelerator pump, just shoots gas. Like, it was coming up about that high and just sitting there, just dousing everything. The whole engine was just getting covered in gas. And I tried to fix it at the show. I don't know what's up, if it's like the needle and seat is sticking, but this fitting right here is stripped, and it just keeps spinning and doesn't come out of the carburetor. So between that, and there was a lot of car show mechanics coming up to tell me that I had a fuel leak as I was trying to fix my fuel leak. So I thought, you know what, forget it. Took the 32 back, went back with the trailer, and hauled the Roadster home where I can fix it in the shop by myself without the car show mechanics and actually have the proper tools to fix it. It's been a day. It's been a weekend. 2 breakdowns in 1 weekend. Oh yeah, look at that. Goosh, 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 goosh. All right, I think we're gonna probably call this video here. There's a lot of stuff in this video. We were really all over the place between garage sales, 47 breaking down, forgetting to put rad hoses on, Model A breaking down, going to a car show. We were all over everywhere. We covered everything. So anyways, if you're still watching, if you haven't given up on me yet, thanks so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Like I mentioned just a little bit ago, if you want to support the channel, you want to get some LG Speed and Custom merch, which is currently all in the car right now. We don't do the drop ship thing, like when you order a shirt, it gets printed at some factory and then sent right to you. Everything that we ship to you is in stock. I address all the envelopes. Shannon actually folds the shirts and puts them in because she's way better at folding than I am. And yeah, everything that you order comes directly from us. So yeah, lgspeedcustom.com. That's the merch website. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do next. Not a clue. I'm gonna go hang out on the couch, probably where it's air conditioned because it's really hot. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks again for watching.